Guys, I hate to break it to you, but I've been completely owned by The Guardian's Marina Hyde about how upset I am about there being a black James Bond. Sorry to break it to you, she writes, far-righters James Bond is not on your team. Who's the first person she cites in this article about people on the right being upset about a black James Bond? It's yours truly. And she's right, I'm really upset about there being a black James Bond. I'm so upset, I've literally tweeted about it. Never! Okay, these are my tweets about James Bond. The first two, sent 19 and 17 minutes ago, are about this article I'm talking about now. The only one before that, the only time I ever mentioned James Bond was talking about a film another James Bond was doing in 2009. So I've literally never even mentioned James Bond in the context of being upset about a black James Bond, Idris Elba, whatever his name is. Couldn't care less. Couldn't give a damn, and yet I'm the first entry in this article about people on the right being upset about James Bond. I've literally never mentioned it once. Now, what does she actually talk about? She talks about being triggered by the fact that I didn't like a piece of modern art. This is what she's talking about. Hyde Park, London. Some idiot dumped this monstrosity in the middle of Hyde Park. It's objectively hideous. It's objectively ugly, as most modern art is. Oh, you don't understand the meaning behind it. No, you don't understand obscurantism. Go and look that up. Go and watch the 4 videos, in-depth videos I did about modern art. So she wrote an entire article about people on the right being upset about a black James Bond. I'm the first person in it. Never even talked about a black James Bond. Look at this devastating insult, though. She calls me, wait for it, prison plonker. Now, if anything hurts my feelings, it's that. So again, an article about people on the right being upset about a black James Bond. First person in it, me, who's never even mentioned James Bond. She goes on to talk about Katie Hopkins and Richard Spencer. Katie Hopkins, who's blocked me on Twitter, and Richard Spencer, who I routinely criticise and make videos bashing. So Katie Hopkins and Richard Spencer might be upset about a black James Bond, Marina Hyde. I couldn't care less, which is why I've literally never tweeted about it once. I mean, talk about living rent-free in these people's heads. She wrote an article about me in June, a couple of months ago. Again, devastating insult there, prison plonker. That's going to take a while to get over. Hurt my feelings. Oh, they did a little poll based on this article, by the way. Said, is this a good article? And again, I don't even know who this woman is. She's some, like, quadruple-barreled snob who went to Oxford, obviously, like they all are. Literally writing articles about me every other month, follows me on Twitter. Puts me in an article about people upset over a black James Bond when I've literally never even talked about a black James Bond. And couldn't care less about James Bond's skin colour. But it's always good to know that I'm getting under Guardian Easter's skin and living rent-free in their head. So, carry on. Yet another example of communist China's social credit score arriving in the West. Mikhail Graves, former vocalist of the iconic punk band The Misfits, had his sold-out shows at next month's Up and Downtown Music Festival in Edmonton cancelled. Why? Did he commit a grave crime? Is he the latest victim of the Me Too movement? Did he fall terribly ill? No, he retweeted Paul Joseph Watson.